All right, what's up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast weekly real estate tip. And today I'm here to talk to you about the 5 stages of real estate success. And unfortunately, the vast majority in this industry never graduate from stage number one. So I want to break down these 5 different stages, what you need to do, what you need to focus on, what you need to master to get you to that next stage. So most that I talk to that jump into this industry, when I ask them, well, why'd you get into real estate? Like, why real estate? Why not the corporate world? Like, why real estate? And it's usually the same answers, right? It's, hey, they wanted to be able to go out there and have more opportunities for their family, create more opportunities for their family, and maybe you are feeling that same way. But then the secondary factor of that is time freedom. I wanted to be able to control my schedule, have more freedom to go out there and spend with family, with my loved ones, traveling, vacationing, and those different things. Well, there's different stages that those become a reality. But in stage one, that does not become a reality. And like I said, unfortunately, the sad truth is most never graduate from level one. I mean, the vast majority of this industry repeat the same, mediocre year for 30 years straight. Just find a way to survive in this real estate industry. Most are on the work till you die plan. There's a saying out there in real estate where real estate agents don't expire or don't retire, they expire. I was talking with a friend of mine not too long ago, and said to me, he's been in the business 30 years, and he said to me, he goes, Josh, I've never been to one real estate agent's retirement parties, but I've been to a ton of their funerals. So I kind of botched that there. But again, he said, I've been to a lot of real estate agents' funerals, but never one of their retirement parties, right? Their funeral kind of is their retirement party. So I want to make sure that that's not you. And this is why I want to do a deep dive here on this podcast here today, to break this down. So, again, what you need to do, what you need to focus on, and at what point then do you need to graduate to the next level, and what you need to do in that next level, because there's different things that we need to do, different things that we need to focus on, different things that we need to master in each one of these different stages. So the first stage, and I'm going to go through the 5 stages real quick. Then I'm going to go through what you need to do in each stage. So stage number one is money. Like, we all need to start making money. We jump in this industry, we're broke, or we don't, we have maybe some savings, but we can burn through that savings really fast. So stage number one, the problem that you need to solve is money. Then once you've solved the money problem, now you're making 250, 300 grand a year. Now money isn't so much the problem. It's that, crap, man, I don't have any time. I'm working every day, all day. I'm a slave to my phone, to my customers, to my clients. You're taking calls at the dinner table. You're missing kids' events. You're, whatever. Well, then it comes to a point, okay, well, money isn't the issue. Then we graduate into stage number two, which is time. How do we get our time back? Then from there, okay, we go from, okay, we got our time back. Well, then how do we go to freedom? Stage three is freedom. Stage four is legacy. Stage five is other people's legacy. You ever wonder why guys like Tony Robbins, or like friggin', I don't know what Tony Robbins' exact net worth is, but, at or close to a billionaire, right? I mean, the dude doesn't need money. He can be set for the rest of his life. But why is he in his 60s working harder than he really ever has before? Because he's in stage five. So these stages don't just apply to real estate success, they apply to all of it. Now, you may be like, hey, once I get to stage four, I don't care about stage five. Okay, cool. There's no judgment there. Or maybe once you get to stage three, you don't care about stage 4 or 5, but however big you want to take this, whatever stage that you want to graduate to, I would recommend to get to at least stage three. Yeah, right. So then that we can have the thing that you probably got in this industry for in the first place is time freedom, money freedom, financial freedom, and that time freedom, because you can have financial freedom, meaning that you're set financially, but then you have no time to go out there and enjoy it. You have no time to, I don't know anybody that's like, oh, I wish like on their deathbed, that's, oh, I wish I would have worked more hours. Right. Okay. So now let's chunk down and break down what we need to do in each of these stages to be able to graduate to the next stage. So stage number one, and again, this is where, I don't know what the percentage is, but after my experience in this industry, 90% plus never graduate from stage one. So stage number one is, again, that money making phase. I was there too. I got in the business at 23 years old. I was broke as a joke. It's why I got into the business, because I saw this real estate as a vehicle to go out there and control my income, make income. I college dropout, never made more than $10 an hour. I wanted money. But then, 3 years into this journey, I was making more money than, I had planned, right? More than I, had sought out for. At first, it was like, oh, if I could make 100 grand a year, I'd be set, right? I'd be feeling good. I'd be, which is so many people, think about in this industry. But when I got to 100 grand a year, I'm like, okay, that isn't the money I thought it was going to be. Then 200 grand a year. Okay, that quite isn't quite money that I would need to be. 300 grand a year, so, but anyway, by the end of my third year, I'm making more than I had sought out to make. Yeah, right. But then I was more miserable than I was when I was broke because I'm working 4 or 5 a.m. till midnight. I'm barely sleeping, not seeing my family at all, going 3, 4, 5 days without seeing my family. Even though I slept in the same bed as my wife, went home every night, but they were passed out before I got home and I was up and out of the house before they woke, right? So, okay, well, then it became time, right? So, okay, let me focus though then on going through what it is that you need to do and what it is that you need to dial in, what is that you need to focus on to get you to the next stage. And what I really want to capture here on this podcast is to be able to identify what stage that you're in so you can then be laser focused like a horse with the blinders on doing what you need to do in that stage. But then okay, now once you've hit this stage and you maximize this stage and you're ready to graduate to from stage 1 to stage 2, what do I need to master? What do I need to focus? What do I need to implement next? Okay, so stage 1 is all about, when it comes to money, that's going to be you mastering strategy, mastering skill set, and taking action. Right. So strategy is, what is our overall effective plan? This is our, lead gen, lead follow up, all of those things. Right. So like, what is my plan to get me? So maybe you're at making, 40 grand a year right now. You're broke. You're not where you need to be, want to be, and you need to get to, or want to get to 350, 400 grand a year, or 250, whatever your number is. It's going to be different for everybody. So whatever your number is, I want you to identify what your number is. Right. So then from there, okay, identify the best strategy plan to get you from where you're at to where it is that you want to go. Right. And the cool thing is, I'm talking with a gentleman just the other day that took a break from real estate, jumping back in as a realtor, wants to pop 30 deals in the next 12 months. I'm like, here's the cool thing. Outside of your past client repeat referral business, like, we just got to focus on one thing. Path to 30 deals, right, on an annual basis is just focusing on one thing. If you want to add in a second, cool. But like, we can do one thing to get you there. You can do one thing to get you to 100 units a year. Right. So, okay, like, what is your strategy plan? Then we need to make sure that we master the skill sets to execute on that strategy plan effectively. So whatever, like maybe you're going after YouTube or Instagram, or you're doing cold calls, or you're doing open houses, each of those takes a different set of skill sets to have success with it. Now, there's skill sets that we all have to master: contract negotiations, listing presentations, buyer consultations, leading the process. So we need to make sure that we got the right strategy plan, that you're mastering the right skill sets that you need to be to, again, get to where you can go from graduate, like maximize level 1. So then we can move to level 2. Right. And then it's massive action. So those are, those 3 things, right? So we got strategy plan, skill set, action. Everything that you are doing while you're getting to, get to the point where you're ready to graduate from stage 1 to stage 2 should be focused on those 3 things. Now we get to that point where, okay, now we're making, 3, 4, 500 grand a year. Money's good. You got good savings. You're sleeping good at night because of the money, but now you need time. Yeah, right. Like, this business, if you are not careful, if you don't do this strategically, and you're to make good money, like, dude, it can own you. It can own your time. And then you get to the point where you're missing out on those important experiences in life and all of those things. If there's some of you that are watching this podcast that are, at the end of stage 1, getting ready to graduate to stage 2, that know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, for me, I first got into business, I wasn't thinking about time. I was just thinking about, hey, man, I just need money. I need money so bad. I just need money. And that was the right focus that I had for that time, right? Now, I waited too long to graduate from stage 1 to stage 2, but I didn't know these things. Yeah, I was 23 years old when I got in the business. There was no YouTube. There's no podcast. We didn't have the information. I didn't have the knowledge that I have today, right? Okay, then as we graduate into stage 2, where it's like, okay, the money's good. I don't necessarily need to be making more money. I can maybe even get away with like making less money. Well, the key there isn't just to do less business. The key there is, okay, how can we strategically start buying our time back? So instead of working 80 hours a week, hey, what if we can make the same amount of money in 40 hours a week, right? Figure that out. So what we need to do to master time in stage number 2 is going to be your systems, your processes, and leverage, right? So leverage is going to be, getting support, whether that's hiring VAs or an in-house support staff member, or, whatever that is, that helps you buy that time back, right? So you can do more with less time. So systems and processes become so imperative, because that's going to allow you to operate so much more effectively and efficiently. And then when it comes to that leverage, and then piece number 1 that I always recommend, like, so many want to go hire ISAs or, agents, but that first step is get all the essential non-money making activities off of your plate inside your business and in your personal life as well. Right. So, okay, if you're still mowing your lawn, and you're making 300 grand a year, okay, well, I don't know if it makes sense for you to be mowing your lawn anymore, right? Like that time that takes you to mow your lawn, unless you really enjoy it, unless it's, and if that's the case, there's nothing wrong with that. If you really enjoy it and that's kind of like your meditation time where, but most don't enjoy those things, right? So before I started hiring actual staff in my business or a full-time assistant, I started delegating out household activities, house cleaners, landscaping, pool service, things where, okay, then when I did have time with my family, I was able to focus all my time with my family, and outsourcing those things is a lot easier and cheaper than outsourcing, people maybe in your business. But then from there, I was like, okay, then the next strategic hire in my business was for me to eliminate all non-money making producing activities, so all the admin activities, so I could allocate all of my time on the money making activities. So I no longer was doing, if you're doing hiring a VA, maybe $5 or $7 activities, or if you're hiring in-house, maybe $20, $25 activities, where you can focus all your time on the $200 activities, right? So there's only three ways we make money in real estate. So what I did is I went to a whiteboard. Well, actually, I did three. I'm sticky those big, huge sticky notes and plaster them on my wall in my office. And I wrote down, okay, what are all the things that I'm involved in daily, weekly, monthly, yearly that are not money making activities? Now, the three money making activities are your setting appointments, the activities that lead to setting appointments. That's your lead gen, lead follow up, right? Your appointment conductions, and then negotiating contracts, putting deals together, right? And the reason why I say money making activities, I want you to think about this. And what are the activities that you do? Maybe you got 2 deals under contract pending right now. Okay, what are the activities that you do that are directly leading to you having 3, 4, 5? That's money making activities. So I made a list of all those things that I'm doing that aren't those three things. And then that became the job responsibility of my full-time 40-hour week assistant. Right. And then, so if we want to continue growing scale, again, we need systems, we need processes, then we need leverage that then allows us to buy some of our time back, right? And get that time back. Now, stage 3, then once we've solved stage 2, okay, then from there it comes to freedom. So freedom is twofold, right? Financial freedom, and then location and time freedom. So I guess maybe threefold, if you will, right? Some of you may not care about location freedom, maybe you love where you live, but at least, time freedom and financial freedom. Now, in order to get this and crack this code, you need residual income, right? That needs to become then the focus is residual income. Now, I'm not saying that you can't start in stage 1 or stage 2 building up stage 3, but you need to start building stage 3 so you can have true time freedom, money freedom, and if you want to, also location freedom, meaning that you can be anywhere, anytime, do what you want, and money's still coming in. Right. Or you can take 6 months off and you're good to go, right? Like you don't have to, show up and work every single day and have all of those things. So residual income is the only key to cracking that code. And there's different ways that you can do that. You can be buying real estate for long-term buy and holds, right? You can build a team to a point where you're out of production, out of day-to-day operations. And that's the path that I went down, right? So, building a real estate team where I was able to exit over time, took building a large team with large expenses and large exposure and whatever, but I got to a point where, hey, I could work anywhere, the work needed to get done that I needed to be involved in. It wasn't a ton. I was able to, get to a point where at my, kind of peak of team building where maybe it was, hour a day, maybe a couple hours a day max, right? If that, right. There's points in times where maybe it's 2 hours a week, right? But anyway, I had full control of my time, meaning I could do it at 3 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon. It just needed to get done. Didn't matter when it needed to get done. I could do it from anywhere, and then my agents, like, we were closing up 6+ hundred units a year. I didn't know one of the addresses. I didn't know the buyers. I didn't know the sellers. It's like every time I add an agent was like you adding, an additional rental property, if you will. So that's one way of doing it. Now you can go build a brokerage, but again, here is the key: is when I say building a team or a brokerage, like you got to build a business, meaning it's operating without your involvement. Like you can go disappear for a year, disappear for 6 months, disappear for 3 months, 2 years, whatever that time frame is, and it's still operating without your day-to-day involvement. That money is still coming in, right? So you can do it through, building a brokerage where you build it large enough, big enough, large enough where you're able, like you've got a full-time, office manager, recruiter, trainer, all of those things where, okay, you're able to just kind of disappear. Got to the point with my team where essentially I built a brokerage inside of a brokerage. When I walked in the office, I didn't know if it was an agent or a client. Yeah, right. Like we just had a machine with, recruiters recruiting, onboarding staff, office manager, trainer, like all of that included, right? So you could do it that way. And again, you can do it through buying investment properties, or you can do it through, a company like EXP or these other companies that allow you to build up rev share. through rev share. Essentially, it allows us to build a brokerage instead of a brokerage, right? Where every time you add an agent, you're then leveraging their staff, their systems, their liability, all of those things, right? This is the path that I'm on now, where then, okay, every time I add an agent partner that joins with us, I get a little piece of the pie out of that. So it allows us to build a brokerage inside of a brokerage, through the rev share component of that. So stage three then is freedom. Now, once you've graduated, hit stage three and you got that going on, now maybe you're like, hey, I'm good there. You just want to make enough money to go on there and, experience life, and have your time freedom, location freedom, all of that back. But then you might want to graduate to stage four. So stage four is building your legacy, right? So this is like, okay, hey, if something happens to me, like, is my family taken care of? Am I creating the life that I want to create and being able to pass this down to my family, maybe my grandkids? Right. Building up your name. So you maybe have a little bit of name if those things are important to you, but you're building your legacy, your family's legacy, right? So if you want to, and again, some people don't care about that. They just want to go maximize their experiences. But for me personally, it's like, man, I want to set my kids up in a different way. And not saying I want to, have them raised with a silver spoon in their mouth, but I want to make sure that, hey, I've got something that I'm passing down, right? So we got stage four, which is building your legacy. And then once your legacy is built, then boom, we can graduate to stage five if you choose to, right? And this is why I said earlier with Tony Robbins, like, why is that dude working harder than ever before, even though he could just disappear now and be done for the rest of his life, and could have for a long time now? Is because now he's on stage five, which is building other people's legacies. So how many other leaders, it's leaders, coaching, training leaders that allow you to make that same impact where they're able to graduate through all these stages, build their legacy, and then help build other people's legacies to have that massive impact, right? And if you look at, I mean, so many of the greats out there, whether it's real estate or not, like, it becomes bigger than them, right? It's not just about them. It's how many lives can I impact? And then how many other leaders can I create to go out there and impact other lives, and, doing my part to just make as much of a positive change on this world while I exist, and their names, like, again, I know I'm using Tony Robbins a lot in this, but we all know his name. So it's all one that makes sense, but his name's going to be remembered for a long time. Right. And not because maybe that's his goal, right. But because he's impacting so many people. There's going to be, after he's gone, there's going to be kids, there's going to be grandkids, where they're sharing the stories of the impact that person that he, and maybe he doesn't even, his name's not even mentioned, but he develops this leader, that then helps other people build their legacies, and maybe they're name dropping that person. It's like, okay, you're sitting around. I always visualize this of, like, this is something that's important to me, is, okay, I'm sitting around, you got a, like, way after I'm gone, right? Maybe you got a grandparent, sitting around with their grandkids that's created big success, and their grandkids are asking, like, hey, how did you create this success? You came from nothing. How did you create success? Well, I was struggling, whatever. And then there was a day, I met this guy named Joshua Smith, and he, changed my mind on a few things. He, got me taking different actions. He got me, doing different things. Right. I mean, to me, that inspires the hell out of me and motivates me. It doesn't mean that it's got to do that to you. Like I said, you might decide to stop on stage four. You might be like, hey, I'm good here. Right. I don't need to graduate to stage five, but if you want to, right, that's stage. And that's why you see, and I'm not saying that I'm in this bucket, right. Like right now, honestly, because I've had multiple times where I've, been at, one of these stages, then I've reverted back, right. So like right now, like, I'm kind of back in the, between the stage three and stage four, but, model. Like, I realized that the vehicle that I was doing with the team, yeah, I'd created, temporary freedom, but wasn't the freedom that I really needed and wanted. So I had to take a step back into stage three. So I'm kind of between stage three, stage four, right now in my life. So I've had points in times. I've had 2 points in times where I got to stage three, shit happened, and then I went all the way back to stage one. Right. So that can happen. Right. But the reason why that happened is I realized I was climbing the wrong damn mountain. Right. So, I always look at, okay, you got the mountain that you want to climb, or I got to climb this mountain. Okay. The strategy plan is the trail map to get you to the top of that mountain. What's the best plan? What's the best strategy plan that's going to be the top of that mountain in the most effective, efficient, least harm path. Right. Then the daily actions that we're doing, daily, weekly, monthly, is like, okay, one foot in front of the other. Those are the actions that we're executing on. Well, I made the mistake of not getting clear enough on what the exact mountain is I need to climb, where I got to the wrong damn mountain. I got to the top of the mountain and realized, oh, this is the wrong mountain. So then now I had to, I mean, sometimes you can spend a decade of your life, like I did, to get to the top of the mountain, thinking you're climbing the right mountain. You get to the top, like, oh shit, this is the wrong mountain. So my recommendation to you guys too is make sure that you spend the time getting extreme clarity on what you want, why you want it, why it's essential, why it's important to you, why it's a must thing that you must accomplish in this plot, this world, so you can make sure that you got that right mountain and don't make the mistake that I did of wasting 10, 20 years out of your life to realize, oh shit, I just climbed the wrong mountain, right? So make sure you're climbing the right mountain. But these are the 5 stages to overall, success in real estate. And again, most stay in stage 1. They make enough money just to survive, just to get by, but they're hustling, they're in their, 60s, 70s, whatever, still hustling open houses, hustling all of this stuff. I'm not saying anything's wrong with that. Like, I like the hustle. It's all good, but I don't know anybody that's in their 70s that likes to still do open houses. Maybe they're doing them because they want to do them, not because they have to do them. And that's a whole different feeling, right? But make sure that you don't get stuck in stage 2. Right. Figure out what stage it is that you want to graduate to, focus on the right things, and then graduate to that stage that you need to graduate to create the life that you want to go out there and create. Because I look at real estate as just the best vehicle that I've ever seen to allow me to go out there and allow you to go out there and create the life it is that you want to create. It's like there was a point in time where I loved working with buyers, loved working with sellers, and there's a point in time where I didn't enjoy that anymore. So why am I so obsessed with and love an industry where I don't even really enjoy working in it anymore? Right. Because I've never seen a better vehicle that can take you from 0 to hero in such a short period of time. I've never seen a vehicle where you can go take a 2-week crash course or a 6-week crash course, jump into it for almost $0 out of pocket. Yeah, it might cost you $1,000 or whatever, but like, compare that to go open up a Jimmy John's franchise or starting a software company, or when we look at it from other businesses, like to enter this industry essentially like free. The barrier to entry is so low. We're able to go out there and sell other people's products and get paid big money to do so if we choose to do the right actions and focus on the right things. So I'm obsessed with this industry because I've never seen an industry that can change people's lives in such a radical way, in such a quick way, in such a radical way. And this is one of the reasons why I love EXP. Because EXP is the model that I've found that allows me to do all 5 of these stages within EXP. Again, I switched companies, we had to go all these different paths, realized I was the wrong mountain. I finally found the right mountain. After 20 years of being in this industry, I find the right mountain because it allows me to graduate all of these stages through EXP and do this all through EXP without having the risk, without having the headache. I'm able to leverage their 2,500 person, support staff team, which I don't even know what their expenses are there, but insane amounts. I have no headaches. I have no liability. I don't have to take on the exposure and the risk of, paying, 80 grand a month in operation costs, all of those different things, at least with the plan that I'm executing at EXP. So it allows me though to after 20 years of being in this industry, like, it is the best vehicle to go out and accomplish all 5 of these stages. So with that being said, if you are interested in learning more about EXP and partnering with me at EXP and how we can help you get through all 5 of these stages at EXP, we also get all my coaching, support, mentorship 100% for free, as well as my business partner, Mike Schroeder, who's the best in the world at social media AI. And when I say best in the world, I'm a little biased, but best I've ever found at social media, AI, YouTube, and growing your businesses. Those ways you also get free access to all his coaching, training, and support, as well as all of EXP's amazing tool systems. But again, the model that they created allows us to win at a level where we can graduate all, and accomplish all 5 of these stages within this same amazing vehicle. So if you're interested in learning more about partnering with me or having a conversation about partnering with me at EXP, where we're able to be on a 100% confidential Zoom call, that's 100% zero pressure. When I say 100% zero pressure, look, I'm not here to recruit you, not here to push you, not here to hard sell you. It's just, hey, here's what we got going on. Here's how we work. Here's how we operate. Here's all the ways that we can get you through these 5 stages, and I can mentor you through getting through these 5 stages. Answer any questions you have, and at the end, if you think it's a fit for you, great. If not, that's okay too. Right? Like, booking, scheduling this call is a everything to gain, nothing to lose scenario. So if it's something you want to take advantage of, below is going to be a link, wherever you're watching this, in either the description or the show notes to schedule. It's going to be me and you. So it's going to be me on that call with you. So if something you want to take advantage of, go ahead and book that now. Keep crushing it. Keep kicking ass. I hope that this was helpful, and I will see you next time. Peace.